All right, and here now in the studio with more on the elections and coalition negotiations, please welcome former media advisor to Benjamin Netanyahu, Odelia Carmon, and Dr. Martin Sherman, founder and executive director of the Israel Institute for Strategic Studies. Thank you both so much.
All right, so our first question is really if Netanyahu is serious about his offer to Gantz, or is this just a spin that we're seeing to kind of make Gantz look like he's the one who's actually pushing for a third round of elections?
Of course, it's Netanyahu's usual lies and spins. How can he say it's going to be without any conditions, and then he comes with all his satellites parties, you know, all the right-wing religious? It's a joke. Either you're coming without preconditions, or you're not coming. You can't say, here I'm coming with all my group, and let's sit down. It's a spin and it's a joke, and it's the usual things that he does.
Martin, what's your take on this?
Well, you know, I'm very worried at the results because I don't think there's going to be any good outcome. You know, I'm not a mind reader. I don't know whether Netanyahu is sincere or he's not sincere. I do know one thing, that if you discount the Arab parties who are considered left of center, got 1/3 of the vote, roughly 1/3 of the vote. But because they lean on the Arab votes, they still have the ability to block a right-wing coalition, which basically, I imagine at least half of Lieberman's voters are right-wing. And when I say right-wing, I mean hawkish, who oppose territorial concessions or for hardline foreign policy.
But Lieberman's not willing to sit with the ultra-Orthodox parties. So,
or the Arab parties.
Right, or the Arab parties, of course. But I mean, that's what...
With Lieberman, because Lieberman's past is strewn with dirty deals with the Haredi parties up until just a week before the coalition was supposed to be formed in April. I mean, you know, it's really the most infuriating thing to watch.
Well, so that brings us to Rivlin, President Rivlin, who is basically the man here who's going to have to kind of force some sort of unity agreement here. Do you think that's going to happen?
It can happen if Bibi will stop with his tricks. Because the ultra-Orthodox said they are not willing to sit with Lapid. You know, so don't put a situation in which no one can live with. Come as you are. Here I am, the Likud. I lost. Unfortunately, I lost. I have 31 mandates. You have 33. Let's make a rotation. You be the first, I'll be the second. So, and this is how you come to a clean, clear game.
So that's actually, I wanted to get further into that as well, because Gantz and Lapid already have a rotational agreement. So how does Netanyahu factor into that?
If it's 2 years, 2 years, let's say it's a 4-year, then Gantz and Lapid will have to work out something. We don't know what will happen. No one is in any ideal or good situation. It's not a good situation. And where does everyone compromise a little? But the situation is, I'm looking at the map you have behind you. Gantz has 33 and Bibi has 31.
What about the chance for a unity government without Lieberman at all? Is there?
Well, Lieberman's already accepted that. I mean, he's already raised that possibility.
Yeah, very statesmanly.
Yeah, well, you know, we'll see. But as I say, I don't believe that it's possible, given the election results, to cobble together any coalition that will have any lasting life, because basically Blue and White's not a political party. It's a conglomerate of 3 diverse parties who have nothing in common apart from the fact that they want to get rid of Bibi. You have people there, you have hardline hawks like Bogi Alon and Yoaz Hendel and Tzvi Hauser and doves from the Meretz party, like Ofer Shelach and Gelman. You have free enterprise champions like Hauser and labor union heads.
Well, what about the Arab party? I mean, the joint Arab list party. It's
something that Moti Kedar actually said previously, which was actually very interesting. He said, you know, give Ahmed Tibi the health ministry and bring the Arab parties into the coalition. Is this not maybe
the most outrageous thing about the last elections?
They don't want to join. They said he said he wants to be the head of opposition.
Who?
So, you know, he said,
it seems like nobody's taking this party seriously. But the most outrageous
thing is that by the letter of the law, none of the parties in the joint list should be allowed to run, because the law says quite clearly that if you do not endorse Israel as a Jewish and democratic state, you can't run.
Odelia,
And none of the Arab parties endorse Israel as a Jewish state. So basically,
okay,
if
wait,
there was
I want to hear what Odelia has to say.
You have to be open-minded. Look, it's not so much that Gantz won the election as Bibi lost the election. So the fact, it's mostly the public that voted for blue and white. Look, Bibi lost a lot of mandates this time because he has Kahlonin and he has Zeutin, and still he has 4 mandates less than he had in the last elections. So the point is that the public says, this is your limits, Benjamin Netanyahu. And now, because the so-called left wing has more mandates, it turns
out it's a different. More mandates.
They have 2 more mandates.
No, the left wing has 1/3 of the Knesset. Altogether, they have 1/3 of the Knesset.
Well, because you're not counting the Arab.
The Arab.
Yeah.
Well, apparently neither do they.
No, but they do, and they.
But we're seeing reports that the Joint Arab List is going to recommend Gantz as prime minister.
Yes.
I rest my case as far as his credentials go.
All right.
Never mind, but the thing is that everyone, after 10 years, it's very, very hard. Some people are addicted to the Netanyahu regime.
13 years.
13 years. And suddenly you have to, to kind of change your mindset and see maybe things are going to be different, more equal, more liberal, different.
Well, it's just going. I'm just wondering what Rivlin is going to do here because the president.
He's got no real legal powers. But I can accept the fact that after a decade there should be a change of government. But what you're seeing here is more or less what you're seeing in America as well. Is when the incumbent's rivals cannot dislodge you from the plot, from his post through the polls, they try all sorts of legalistic methods to get rid of him. And when people say that the public is losing faith in state institutions, I think they're right. I think the public is losing faith in the legal establishment because of these clearly trumped-up charges against SBB.
Well, the question is...
And the way that he's being delegitimized as prime minister, they're getting the public to lose faith in the institution of the prime minister. The fact, you can't belittle Bibi's achievement here because he's had
I don't think anybody's belittling his achievements, but it will be interesting to see what plays out. Thank you both so much for joining us.